Remember, there is a trail behind you. These words were spoken by my paternal uncle, affectionately called Uncle Deke, with emotion in his throat and expectation in his voice, just days after I passed my dissertation defense. His pride was evident, but his words were clearly a charge and a call to action. You've looked back, Nisi, he said, and you've looked forward. Now let's make progress. Remember, there is a trail behind you. As I hung up the phone, I considered his words. My Uncle Deke was right. During my educational journey, I had looked back to a father educated in a segregated one-room schoolhouse in Mobile, Alabama, and to a mother from Wakulla, Florida, who believed a college education was the only key to a great future, even though she had never completed her own. I had looked back to the stops and starts of my own life as a working wife and mother who had attempted this journey 3 times, and I knew in my gut that it was now or never. But I had not only looked back, I had also looked forward to my 3 African-American sons who deserved a future as bright as the hope shining in their eyes. I had looked forward to being the first in my family on both sides to earn a doctoral degree and raising the bar on what's possible. And I had looked forward to using my education to make an impact, being the change agent in my small corner of the world, recognizing that this gift of scholarship and inquiry, relationships and mentorships, research and discourse were not for me to hoard, but to share. And like my Uncle Deke reminded me, looking back and looking forward were not enough. It was time to make progress. And now, my fellow graduates and colleagues, I say the same to all of you. Because making progress must be intentional. It simply doesn't happen by happenstance. One of my most poignant memories from my doctoral program reminded me of this fact. My classmates and I thought we had made progress after we completed our coursework. We were 2 years in, many courses later. We thought, yes, progress. Some of us even gave a celebratory shout at the end of that final class session because in our minds, we had arrived and it was time to enjoy the moment. But one of our professors, with the wisdom of hindsight, sobered us with just a few insightful words. Oh, my dear students, the real work has only just begun. And he was right. He saw what we could not see. The coursework was a test of our skill, a nod to our intellectual ability, if you will. But the dissertation, that dissertation, that was a test of our will. Dare I suggest the same to all of you? As you begin your post-graduation journey as teachers and researchers, policymakers, administrators, and community advocates, will you see the work through to the end, even when it gets hard? Will you persevere through the challenges to identify solutions, even when resources are limited? And will you recognize that work of this magnitude cannot be done alone, but requires strategic partnerships and collaboration? To my graduating classmates, please do take a brief moment to celebrate, because we have reached a wonderful milestone, and I celebrate with each and every one of you. But be reminded that the real work has only just begun. The real work of creating more equitable outcomes for all students. The real work of ensuring that adequate resources are granted to all communities. And the real work of driving policy to advance social capital and economic mobility. Yes, the real work has only just begun. And it will take what psychologist Angela Duckworth calls grit, a special cocktail of passion and perseverance to make sustainable progress that leads to measurable impact. But making progress is a must, my fellow graduates, because there is a trail behind us. Let me first acknowledge the trail of our family and friends, many of whom are in the audience, and say thank you. You invested in us, you believed in us, and you cheered us on. And because you invested in us, we must now pay it forward and invest in others. I must also recognize the trail of red and white, our Wolfpack family of administrators, staff, and faculty who taught us and mentored us, encouraged us, challenged us, and prepared us to not only think, but also to do. And of course, there's a trail of community partners and employers who see us no longer as NC State students, but as NC State graduates, and are excited about what we will offer to them and the communities in which we serve. Thank you, my dear Uncle Deke, for reminding us of what truly matters most. Yes, the degree is wonderful, but the legacy, what we leave behind, and the lives we touch through our efforts must be transformational. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2018.